Today, Russ Lyman is going to give a speech. He has worked in the communications and networking industry for 17 years. During that time, he was privileged to have a front row seat to the commercialization of the Internet as we know it today. However, Russ has concerns that within 2 short weeks, the FCC will issue an edict that will ultimately result in a long series of unintended consequences. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Russ Lyman, the Tomorrowland of the Internet.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you about technology this morning. Specifically, the technology of communications. And you will be entertained. Technology can be boring, and I'm hoping to assuage you from that boringness. But what I really want to make you aware of is the significance of the FCC ruling on February 28th. This will change the Internet into a utility. A quick history lesson first that I want to go over. Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone in 1876, 100 years after the Declaration of Independence. AT&T, the company he founded, was in 1885. In 1915, AT&T and the government entered into what would actually be the proper explanation of a robber baron. A compact for a government-sanctioned monopoly that would last until 1984. A full 70-year monopoly. This monopoly didn't get destroyed until a competitor of AT&T's, MCI, used technology that AT&T was not using. Microwave technology, point-to-point communications. It's a simple way it works. You put a tower here with a radio. You point the tower along the horizon until the horizon starts to come up too high and it's going to cut off the signal, the curvature of the earth. You stick another tower up to catch the signal, and then you do the same thing again and again and again. And you make a long string of communications without having to bury anything. MCI was very good at this, and they did this up until about 1984, when AT&T started getting upset. Because here's what AT&T was doing with their government monopoly. They had created a company called Western Electric. And what Western Electric was really just a division of AT&T that was hiding the cost, the true cost of a monopoly. Many of you who are older than me might remember that you used to have telephones in your home that were branded by AT&T. The only phone you could buy was from AT&T. You couldn't go into Best Buy and get Panasonic, Sony, whoever. It just wasn't allowed. And this is actually how AT&T got broken up, is because MCI was wanting to stick new radios and traverse AT&T's network along with their network. And AT&T was like, no, we're not having anything on this. But it's funny how a government that gives you something with one hand can bite you with the other. And that's exactly what happened at AT&T 70 years later. So in 84, the government broke up AT&T because they realized that they had this crony capitalism, this monopoly that was evil, for lack of a better term. And they broke it up into all the separate bells. And then in 1996, when Al Gore invented the internet, really all Al Gore did was vote for this bill, and that's where he comes up with I invented the internet. But in actuality, in 1996, what the government essentially did was get out of the way. That's all they needed to do, and that's all they really did. And you guys have been witness to the last 20 years, the most amazing communications revolution in the history of humankind. Literally, we have developed in 20 years the largest single communications machine ever built. And it's absolutely amazing. And in 2 weeks, an idiot is going to change it all. Now they think they're doing something good. And Bastiat comments about the idea of doing something good. Frederick Bastiat, an 1850 political philosopher, is telling us why we're doing something wrong 160 years later. He says, in the Department of Economy, an act, a habit, an institution, a law, gives birth not only to an effect, but to a series of effects. Of these effects, the first only is immediate. It manifests itself simultaneously with its cause. It is seen. The others unfold in succession. They are not seen. It is well for us if they are foreseen. Between a good and a bad economist, this constitutes the whole difference. The one takes account only of the visible effect. The other takes account of both the effects which are seen and those which it is necessary to foresee. Now, this difference is enormous, for it almost always happens that when the immediate consequence is favorable, the ultimate consequences are fatal. Hence, it follows that the bad economist pursues a small present good, which will be followed by a great evil to come, while the true economist pursues a great good to come at the risk of a small present evil. Now, what small present evil is currently what the FCC wants to avoid in 2015? Well, if I can tell you real quickly, it's simply this. Comcast doesn't like Netflix. All Comcast did was set up a toll road. And they said, Netflix, you want to cross this bridge, you have to pay us. And Netflix says, no. Your customer wants me to go across your road. They're already paying you for your road. Why should I pay you double to go across your road? Comcast says, my road, my rules. And we went to court over this. Comcast lost. But Comcast stood its ground. Netflix was looking to lose business. They paid the toll. The problem is Comcast runs a video company. Netflix runs a video company. Comcast wants people to buy its videos. They don't want to buy Netflix videos. So the FCC is going to try to remedy this, among a few other things. The only way Comcast knows when Netflix is coming across it has to look at the packets. They're trying to stop them from doing that. Also, there's another thing people are trying to do is create first class, second class, coach, economy, and a whole bunch of different ways of traveling across the internet, which is going to happen regardless of what the government does, but that's a whole other story. But the simple fact of the matter is the government's going to try to remedy this small problem with a big fix. And what nobody realizes is that the unintended consequences and the long-term effects of what is unseen is going to be monumental, and you will have a front row seat to it just like I did. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Russ.